The area have been effectively
there. We've got pictures that are coming from Al Jazeera at the moment, showing our correspondent Wael who's on that gurney in a hospital that I can't yet identify. As you were telling us earlier on, he appears to have been injured. They appear to be treating at the moment. We should remember Wael had several members of his family killed and injured in an Israeli strike some weeks ago. He then went back to work and was reporting the following day after he had been through the funeral service for those members of his family. These pictures, we believe, they are coming from a hospital in Khan Younis. I want to bring in our senior political analyst, Marwan Bashara. This is just an indication of the kind of risks that obviously all people in Gaza are facing, but of course journalists as well, who are trying to report on the situation there.
You know, I'm honestly, I got tired of having to watch this, where our colleagues have to go through this. It seems like it's a non-stop thing against not just innocent civilians, but innocent journalists trying to do their job. We've been covering our colleagues and their families being subjected to the kind of inhumane violence by the Israelis throughout Palestine and even in Lebanon. And it's just an ongoing nightmare that doesn't seem to stop. But once again, this is the thing about our people at Al Jazeera. They are our family, and their families also are going through this. And here they are in front of our eyes, in plain sight, for the international public opinion, just to watch what is happening in Gaza. Of course, our journalists tend to be part and parcel of the fabric of the societies they cover. And in the case of Gaza, of course, we are unique in being present there with all our young professionals doing their jobs in and out. And as you said, Rob, despite all difficulties, despite the death of his family, so many members of his close family died or killed by the Israeli violence, and he rebounded within minutes to do his job. And here he is again now. He is the victim, Wael, our Wael, our bureau chief that's been going there for years and years and years, steadfast, with his people, covering the story of the suffering of his people, just basically reporting on what is happening in Gaza to the rest of the world. But Israel, not only attacks innocent civilians, it attacks those who try to get their voice heard, their cries heard in the rest of the world.
I want to go back to Hani Mahmoud, who, of course, is one of our Al Jazeera teams who are on the ground and has been reporting for several weeks now since the conflict began. Hani, just first of all, talk to us about Wael himself. Talk to us about the kind of person that Wael is, because I know that he has been reporting from Gaza for so many years. He's regarded as an institution there. He's not somebody that I have personally met, but I know that you and the members of your team may have done so. Talk to us about that.
Yes, Tom, we've known Wael for quite a while. A very professional journalist, doing his job to the best of his ability, focusing on facts and only facts without painting any flowery image of what's going on. And this is in his opinion, as once we discuss it, this is what Palestinians need, just to stick to the facts and what's going on the ground. It's the strongest message possible to the world to explain the Palestinian plight. Well, it's on the third week of this genocidal war. He just lost his wife, 3 of his children, and several other of his family members. And despite the shocking news of his family loss, well, on the next day after the funeral procession, they decided to get back in the field and continue reporting and documenting all the atrocities and the relentless attacks on defenseless Palestinians across the Gaza Strip. And particularly today, the incident at the school earlier this morning, this evacuation school in Haifa Street, that's in eastern in central Khan Younis, an evacuation center. And the area, this is not the first time being targeted. It was targeted repeatedly within the past a few days. It came under heavy gunfire, tank shells, artillery shelling. The vicinity of the school was destroyed by airstrikes as well. The vast majority of the infrastructure, the roads leading to the school were severely damaged. So the school was full of evacuees, but due to intensity of the bombing, several people decided to leave and move to the western side, only remain in the school those who had no other place to go to, and basically who believed that there is no safe place to go in the Gaza Strip. So we're talking about at least 20 families remain in that school. And as early hours of this morning, and this is the daily routine of so many displaced, if not all of them, displaced and evacuees in the Gaza Strip, the daily routine of queuing in line for water and bread. Mainly women and little kids do this along with their either older siblings or their fathers. They were in the yard of the hospital when it came under heavy artillery shelling and tank shells this morning. 12 people were killed, mainly children and women, and that's once again that we're seeing an entire generations of children being targeted and killed. And when we talk about the level of precision and technology used in this weapon, but we look at the victims, a lot of people express frustration that it's done on purpose. A parent who lost two of his kids in this school talked that frustrated about the fact that Israel could have avoided, the Israeli military could have avoided killing the children, but in fact they did it and they killed them. So those 12 were rushed to the hospital, mainly women and children, 25 other with several critical injuries. And this is the aftermath of what's going on. It adds more pressure on the hospitals. It already suffered from lack of medical supplies and necessities to keep it surviving. But the tsunami of injuries has put so much pressure on health facility and making it overwhelmed. So far, what we know about the conditions of Wael, he was shot in the upper right arm, as a drone fired the missiles. A shrapnel just hit him in the upper side of his right arm, and his cameraman was also hit with a shrapnel, but his injuries is more critical, and it took time for the ambulance to get to the area. It came under heavy fire by the Israeli military. It took time to get him to the hospital. The last thing we heard that he is undergoing a surgery right now in the hospital, just to remove any of the shrapnel that are still inside his body.
Hani, for now, thank you very much indeed.